was. Anyone?
What about house? I don't know what it's called.
Well, the first system was basically walkie-talkies or push-to-talk systems. Those were basically the first modular or portable telephone system. Yeah. And there was those were analog, and then when you try to communicate with someone, you can only talk to someone talk to them one way, so you can't hear what the other person's saying whenever you need to. And what they did is the scientists created something called AMPS, or Advanced Mobile Phone System, and that changes everything. Because by using these cells to transmit your signals, right? These cells, basically in each of those cells, there are frequencies that you transmit your voice data through. And then what they figured out was to reuse those frequencies. And by using those, it created a really efficient system for transmitting your voice both ways. And from the slides, it says each cell can host 10, on each frequency can host 10 to 15 calls. So, and with these cells, what they can do is sort of like inception, like cell inception. So by making these cells smaller, you can fit more cells into each cell. And each cells can have frequencies by itself. So if you create more cells, well, if you create smaller cells, and you can fit more cells in one of those cells, it's like a never-ending inception. So if you look at those A, B, C, D, E, those letters, right? Those are cells. And then the one on the right is cells within cells within cells. So depending on how small you can make the cells, you can pretty much fit a bunch of them in there and make it more efficient, and the amount of power it uses is gonna get lower really quickly. And that was the first generation phone. And now we have the second generation mobile phones, which can transmit and receive voice data using digital signal. Because back then they were using analog signal, and digital was much more efficient. And using 2G, they figured out how to transmit text messages versus the first gen, which is just voice. And using text messages, using the second gen system, they created a standards, a global standards called GSM, which stands for Global System for Mobile Communications. And these standards mean that if you go to any countries that uses GSM, and you have a GSM phone, or GSM compatible phone, you can go to any country and use your phone there, depending on what provider you have. And then with GSM, they use something called SIM card. I think most of your phones here have it, versus the old one, which is just a CDMA, which doesn't have a SIM card, so that phone's only tied to that provider, and then you don't really have any choice. It's not very modular or efficient. Because SIM cards, they store all the data that identifies you and the secret keys that helps you encrypt your data in transmission in that little card. So whatever phone you put that card into, you basically be able to use your same number over and over again. And third gen, which is the standard for today's phone, but 4G is coming up with the standards, but 3G is still the standards. And what 3G does is it lets you receive digital digital voice and the normal data, which is like internet data. And using the 3G mobile systems, they basically improve the speed and the bandwidth of the ones from before, and providing by using 3G phone systems, they improve the efficiency of it and the encryption algorithms, so you can transmit more data and uses less time to transmit it. Basically, like the data that you want to transmit can be compressed more and more, and you can transmit more data in a smaller package. That's basically what it means. And with 3G phones, you can use GPS, and basically anything you can do on the internet, you can basically do with the 3G phones. So do you guys know what's the difference between the 3G and 2G?
Oh, what?
difference between 2G and 3G mobile phones.
3G can also send data as opposed to just voices and text messages.
Yeah, that's right.
Excellent job. You get a Twix. Sorry, I'm really bad at throwing. Sorry.
Or you can get pegged in the face with your Twix.
Game games are very dangerous.
Does anybody know what AMP stands for?
Advanced Mobile System. Phone system.
Ow, ow.
Can anybody repeat that louder?
Advanced Mobile Phone
All
System.
right, I'm just going to throw some out generally. I'm so sorry. Please keep your eyes awake so that you can see what's happening. All right, let's move on to cable phone.
Feel what happened.
Alright, so I'm going to